Hello guys, so it's finally time to convert our Ford County model here. So we've talked about it before. We're just gonna add in some electronics in and wire it up to the motor here, try and add in a steering servo. So the first thing we need to do is obviously take it apart, and the problem I have is I don't really see any screws or rivets. So what we're going to need to do is just try and pry it apart, because I presume it's pins interlocking into another piece. So I have some tools here, with some tape on the pliers and the screwdriver so that we don't damage the model, because we don't want to do that. And then we're just going to get a good hold of it and try and prise it apart from in here, because I think there's a bit of a gap there and we can maybe get it. So hopefully this won't do any damage. Let's just be careful with it. No, well of course I'm not going to do that. This channel is about making models, not breaking them. I have a much better plan, and it's going to involve this guy. So those of you who have a good idea of your tractor history will probably already note that this County would have been based on the TW of the same period. So in this case it's this TW30 I think that this model would have been based on, or that the real tractor would have been based on. And I have the Britain's one here, so you can see it has the same sloped bonnet basically. There's maybe a little bit more detail on this one, and the weight blocks are different, so there's a couple of little changes. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to base my County model on this TW. So there's a couple of changes. You can see that this cab is different to this one, but I actually think this cab is more period correct. If I look at the pictures, this seems to be a second generation cab, and I think maybe they used that on this tractor because they had a TW35, a second generation one, and you know, they just had to make one cab if they did it that way. But I think actually this cab is more realistic. I could be wrong on that, maybe people will correct me in the comments, but I think that is the actual cab that this model should have had. So obviously we don't need our front wheels, we'll be taking them off and replacing them. So to get the wheels for this one, what I actually did was buy two front axles from the T8 New Holland that I have. The reason is because I've noticed it's the same diameter as that one, and a lot of the pictures I see on the internet, the County seem to be set up with wheels like this because they would have been used in the likes of forestry applications and bogs where they needed big sort of flotation tyres and things like that. So I have four of these wheels, and that's what I'm going to put on my County model. The next important thing we probably have to change is this sticker on the bonnet, because obviously can't be driving around with 40W wrote on it. So I got a little decal that's hopefully going to fit around there, and change it to County 1884, which, like I say, I think is the model this one's based on. Probably the most obvious difference, well apart from the wheels, is this huge weight block that comes on the front of the County model. So we'll have to change that on this one, and to do that I got this little get what it is, kind of like a cast plastic or resin maybe, or just part from model. So it's basically that component, cast in resin here, and it's kind of brittle, so that little piece broke already. But I think once I get my chassis for my new model made and mount this on it, spray it all up, I think it'll look pretty good. The final thing, and probably the most interesting thing from my point of view, is what kind of drivetrain I'm going to use in this. So you're probably thinking, am I going to put 4N20 motors or just drive it rear wheel drive? Well actually, my plan is to take the drivetrain out of this little Jeep and fit it into my chassis of my TW, or of my, well, it's going to be my County, because I'm actually going to have to 3D print a chassis. I'm just going to salvage what parts I can from this one and then make a 3D printed chassis that will house this motor and drivetrain and axles, and that should give us four-wheel drive from our Ford County. But obviously the first thing we need to do is take this model apart anyway, because we need to get the parts that we need to salvage from it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I think I'll be able to just pull the wheels off the rear axle of this model. Pretty sure they're just press fit. a little bit more effort. Getting the rear axle didn't go as well as I'd hoped. I was trying to take the wheels off so that I could get a grip on this section of the wheel, or I was trying to get the tyres off so I could get a grip on this section of the wheel with pliers to twist it off. I was trying to do it without damaging it, but when I was trying to get the tyre off this side, I actually cracked the wheel hub there. You can probably see the little hole through it. So there's something to be aware of that can happen. So now that we have the rear wheels off, we can see these screws here on both sides. That should let us get the cab off. We have the one at the front here, and when we take the cab off, hopefully we'll expose another few screws. Maybe let's take the bonnet off and eventually split the kind of main chassis in two halves. Let us remove that in one piece without damaging it, and hopefully remove the front axle in one piece without damaging it. That's what I'm hoping to do, but it might not go to plan. We'll just have to try it. Well, there you go, that's the model all apart there. There's a few bits that we can screw off there, like the little ladders on the side of the cab, so that'll be something we'll be able to screw onto our new model. All these sections here come out perfectly, like this, that there is just going to work perfect in our new model. All we need to do is screw it onto our new chassis that we designed. Same with the bonnet, that's going to just slide straight on, no issues there. Whether we'll be able to salvage some of this kind of fake engine looking part or not, I don't know. I might try and cut it off and maybe use this bit to bolt it onto the new chassis that I make. If it's possible, I'll do that, but yeah, not 100% certain on that yet. But that's it, lots of reusable parts. Maybe we'll have some use for this axle and something else. Nice steering axle there. But that's pretty much it, that's all she wrote. That's how you disassemble one of these tractors. So a nice little weight block. Well, here's kind of what we're going for. We have the 4 big wheels on here. Now I need to change that weight block to this one obviously, which will change the look of it quite a bit. I can't get this on because this bit here just stops it, or actually there's a bit on the front here that stops it going back in that far. So that would need to be, well, no, it won't need to be cut off because I'm making a whole new one of these 3D printing ones, so it won't actually be there on the one I use. But anyway, this is basically the idea. Your 4 big wheels. I have these wheels inside out here because I couldn't get them in close enough in under the mud yards. They were sticking way out. So that's more like what it is. And I had to take the indicator stalks off there, so they were sticking in there kind of, so just little lights. But they're not on the real one. If you look on the pictures, it's like this. There's none. There's no there. They're up in the front here on your weight block. So we'll be putting the lights on that there instead. But yeah, it's gonna look something like that and be kind of 4-wheel drive. So hopefully it's gonna look pretty good when it's finally finished. And even better, I'm hoping that with the 4-wheel drive system, it should have some great pulling power. I'll be putting beacons on the top and other bits and pieces of lights. I'll try and make it like, I'll put a picture on the screen here of one that I'm kind of basing it on, or kind of, that's what I have in my mind. But yeah, that's the way it's going to work out, I think. So if you like this idea, make sure and let me know in the comments and hit the thumbs up and all that. I think it's going to work out pretty good. I particularly like the idea that we might have a 4-wheel drive, a completely 4-wheel drive tractor, even though it's got locked differentials, but you know, it's no problem. It should pull great in the coffee grind field, and that'd be great if we could just get it to pull. If we could just get it to pull great in the coffee grind field with say a plough or something like that, I think it would just be brilliant. Even then, maybe we might make some sort of a forestry attachment for the back of it, maybe some sort of a winch with an anchor point, like, well, that's the kind of thing you'd see in this country anyway, it being used for. But you know, that's all a possibility. But we're a long way off that yet. It's going to take a right bit of work to get the 3D printed chassis to work at all. So, and then it's going to take ages to print it, because it's going to be quite a big, complicated kind of a print, and they just never go right the first time. So it'll be a good bit of work there, I'd say. But that's all I have for the video. So if you liked it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, and if you have any comments and suggestions, let me know below the video. And that's everything, so thanks very much for watching.